So, the Rich Piana racist controversy. Is it a controversy yet? Because I really only see it being discussed on YouTube by the YouTube bodybuilding and fitness world, which does make sense because this is where Rich has really built his brand and built his business. Now, if you're not familiar and you're watching this while on YouTube, how dare you? Because I'm sure your feed has been cluttered with the conversations and all the YouTube fitness personalities discussing what happened with Mr. Piana. So those that don't know, Rich Piana is possibly the most famous of the YouTube fitness-oriented channels. Now, the term fitness is being used very loosely here because not much of what Rich does can be considered fitness. It's very much bodybuilding, very much performance-enhancing, drug-induced content. And there's a place for that, and there's some necessary conversations to be had about that. But general health and fitness, Rich's channel isn't the one you want to go to. You want to see fast cars and plastic women, then you might want to see what Rich has got going on. And again, there's a time and place for everything. Now, the incident at hand, without knowing too much about it, other than what has popped up again in my feed, I think I got most of my information from Jason Blaha's channel. I saw first talk about it. And then over at RX Muscle, Dave Palumbo and Lee Priest are talking about it. I did hear the tape, and it was a phone call recorded by one of Rich's ex-females, ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, what have you, but someone that he had some sort of romantic relationship with, and allegedly this young lady had, or Rich had believed she had another relationship with a man of African-American descent. And being that as it may, Rich used the term, the bad term, the word that must not ever be spoken, definitely not by a white guy, that starts with N. And that is a word that nobody should say, in my opinion, regardless of color. That word shouldn't be used, shouldn't be discussed, should completely fade away. And Lee Priest made that point too, which was pretty good. By using that word, you give life to the word. If everyone would stop using that word, it becomes powerless and disappears. Wouldn't that be beautiful? But regardless, Rich used the term in a derogatory fashion. It was pretty harsh. Now, Rich, actually, I did see Rich came out and made a public apology, and he said essentially, well, that was 10 years ago that phone call happened, and he was recorded without him knowing, and he was really just mad at the girl that he was screaming it at, and he was trying to hurt her, and he's not a racist, and all this other stuff. And it is what it is. He came out, he had his side, you heard the video or the audio, and it is what it is. I'm not here to really make a comment other than that word should never be said, should never be used, definitely not out of anger. There's no place for that word to be used. But is it an issue that it would be elsewhere? Now, a guy like Rich Piana is widely believed to be a multimillionaire. Rich Piana has a very popular business. I see his products being sold in local vitamin stores. He has a supplement line. He has a clothing line. I'm sure he's making thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars per month, most likely, due to his YouTube hits without knowing the YouTube analytics on monetization. So here's a guy who's making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars off of his celebrity. Is he at risk of hurting his business? Is there any repercussion for that? Can anybody in the public sphere or not use such a term and be judged for it? Well, certainly they should be judged as a person, right? Because I'm judging, you're judging, we're all judging. You use that word, you get judged. Is there repercussions? Will it affect his business? Will it affect his popularity? It's crazy to say, but as we sit here right now in the year 2017, it might not have any effect on his popularity. The news cycle is such that people forget what's not directly in front of their face. which is mind-blowing. Because there's a new story that comes out. There's a Trump story. There's an Islam story. There's a Bradley Martin story. You know, there's a Kai Green story. There's a story that comes out that everybody jumps to next and jumps to next and jumps to next. There's distractions that keep people away from more meaningful conversations. And I don't know Rich at all. I don't buy his products. I don't really watch his channel because it doesn't offer content that I find useful or I find compelling, though his audience is massive. So there are people that do frequent his product and or his services. Now, the fact that he used that term in such a derogatory fashion with such venom behind it, will that stop people from frequenting his channel, from pursuing his content, from purchasing his products? Will it in reality? Probably not. Probably not to a meaningful degree. Should it? Well, that's another question. And that's up to you guys, because you're the consumer, you're the audience, you're the end user, and that's where your decision comes. So I'm not here to offer any sort of opinion other than for shame. I mean, really, you use a word like that, but any sort of derogatory term that stereotypes or denigrates any individual based upon their race, based upon their religion, based upon things outside of their control, any sort of that language, I am opposed to. You know, free speech is not, I do uphold free speech. I'm not saying Rich Piana needs to go to jail, certainly, but I would not be surprised if people do change their opinion towards him for that term. Now, can he earn his way back into public spotlight? I mean, look at the media. Look at our heroes in American culture anyway. Look at how vain and narcissistic and vapid most people are. I mean, look at the pop culture icons. Girls with fake butt implants and shaved waistlines and fake faces are held up as beauty icons. Right? Those are beauty icons. Completely fake people are portrayed as beautiful. What's wrong with people? So I don't think what Rich has done, regardless of my opinion on it being very bad what he's done, to be clear, I'm not supporting that term at all. What I am saying is I don't believe the character exists within the group culture for there to be any sort of discernible impact. Now, it's possible, but I don't think Rich's YouTube channel is going to get taken away. I don't think his supplement company is going to fold, and I don't think people are even going to stop buying Rich Piana t-shirts. I think that'll probably clip on forward, which sends the wrong message, truly, that some people can act in a manner that's completely contrary to the underpinnings of a healthy civilization. Now, I'm using Rich to make a much larger point. Where is the world going? I mean, look at where we are right now, ladies and gentlemen. Look at where we are. Look at what's happening in the culture. Look who we're being force-fed that we should look up to. Politics has become reality TV. It's not politics anymore. It's simply reality TV. The James Comey, Senate hearings, people are going to the bars to watch this. It's becoming a big event. Now think back to Minority Report. Think back to Running Man. Think back to Mockingbird or whatever, Mockingjay, whatever that Katniss movie is, right? Where is our culture going? Where is our culture going, ladies and gentlemen? Well, fortunately, you are the ones to decide. So try and unplug yourself from the matrix a little bit. Try and step back and really analyze the situation. Now, I'm not making any sort of case or statement as I talk to you. What I try and do through this channel is I try and have conversations with you guys. And I try and bring points to your attention that I feel strongly, and then other people that I talk to, many of those people are you, through our comment section, through our social media pages, through the emails, through direct messages. So you guys are a very intelligent community, which I love. I love communicating with you guys. But what do you guys think? So leave some comments below. And I don't want to belabor the point and be another fitness YouTuber that's trying to gain views because of the Rich Piana thing. This isn't about that. And I know it kind of does walk a gray line. It's not about that, but it gives me the opportunity to really bring to your attention what I've been feeling, which is fear of culture, fear of civilization, fear in which we are going as a community. And this is a global community. We're moving in the wrong direction. The wrong people are being held up as examples of what we should be or what we should aspire to. The wrong people are being pushed into the spotlight, not for their merit, not because of what they've accomplished, just simply because they have a plastic version of what we're being told we must adorn, what we must not bow down to, not entirely bow down to, but what we must aspire to be like. Now, if you look at Rich Piana, I'll take that a step farther. Here's a guy, and I'll have to use the term allegedly, who allegedly has a completely fake body. Here's a guy who allegedly has fake muscles. Here's a guy who allegedly has resorted to certain type of site enhancement injections, which are products that are actually injected into the muscle to make the muscles actually swell and keep that way, not through muscle building process essentially, but through false means. And if you look at him in his physique, it should be very clear that there's something very different there. Now, here's a guy who admits, and I will say endorses, a lifestyle predicated upon using performance-enhancing drugs, who recently, as early as a year ago, undertook one of the most disgusting drug stacks that I've ever heard of and seen of. And many, many people in the YouTube community were just shocked at the amount of dangerous compounds he was injecting into himself for nothing more than an egotistical, narcissistic, vain, I believe, attention whoring perspective. I think he only did this to create new content, to push the boundaries, to get you guys to tune in and watch him damn near kill himself while trying to add 40 or so pounds of muscle while already being a massive, massive human being. And he gained followers for that. He gained traction. He gained popularity. He grew because of that. And that goes back to my first point. Why are we, as a community, looking up to people such as that? Now, I don't know if Rich is a good guy or a bad guy. And this isn't a personal commentary on Rich Piana. So please, I don't know the man. And I think I would have to know the man to make a deeper evaluation of my opinion on who he is. But the public perspective that he puts out there is not something to look up to. And I'm sorry, Rich, if you see this, and those followers of Rich, I'm not hating. The information that he puts out there is not good information. It's not healthy information. It's not even effective information. Look at him. I mean, if you're trying to look like that, if you're trying to be that, if you're trying to do that, you are such a small niche percentage of the population. And I would strongly suggest you sit down with a psychologist and a psychiatrist and dig down deep into your childhood and find out what happened to you to make you want to live in that gorilla suit. So for Rich and for those fans of Rich and for everybody who's kind of aware, his use of that vulgar word shines the spotlight on a much bigger issue. And I think I'm going to have to leave it there. It's open-ended, so it's just commentary. This is more of an op-ed video than anything else. Shocking to hear, but not surprising, because we've all heard such terms before, and we've heard it used worse before, and we've heard other terms used to denigrate other races and other individuals. It's just that he's a really popular guy, and he had the camera or the microphone on him, and it came out. But that does open up as a group, as a community, it does open up our evaluation of where are we going? Like, what are we aspiring to be like? Do we want to walk around and be that guy, that dude, that whatever it takes, I'm going to inject this and take this and stick this and bury me in a small box or big box? I don't know. I think that pursuit is fleeting. And I think that destination is empty. And I think, like Rich, once you get there, you realize that you're nowhere, that you're alone. Because here's a guy who was already super famous, he was already super popular, he was already super big. And then he went and risked his health in a very dramatic way because he wasn't big enough. He wasn't popular enough. He wasn't famous enough. It wasn't enough. It wasn't extreme enough, and it never will be. So the chase for that, the pursuit for that, and even the impossible example that sets, like the plastic women that are now being thrown all over social media and major mainstream media to be beauty, icons, is ridiculous. They're completely fake. Their faces, their injections, their surgeries, their nose, their cheeks, their chins, their shaving, their physique, their sculpting, their lipo, their fat injections, their calf implants. It's all completely fake, yet they're being held up, and people by the millions, by the tens of millions, are following them along. Literally following them straight off the cliff to nothingness. So that's just my 2 bits on it. I'm just a guy sitting here in an office just talking at you. And hopefully some of you out there have some opinions. So if you have some opinions, please leave them down below. If this is the first time to this channel, just go back and look at some of the other great videos we have and subscribe. It'd be awesome to continue to grow the conversation with people like yourself. But if you look back at my videos, you'll see I do try and be pretty active in answering comments and questions and things such as that. So I try and engage with you guys as much as I can. And I appreciate you being here. So what is it? Leave your thoughts below. I'll talk to you soon.